Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a really cool note that I'm holding in my hand and think about some of the currency that was also made there. And what that is it is a North African silver certificate. So there's a lot of special history. They're US dollars, but they were circulating overseas in Africa during World War II. So I'll be explaining the history of them, some rare ones, and anything else you might want to know about the North African silver certificate notes. So, like I said before, these were printed in World War II. I believe it was 1942 when they were authorized for use in North Africa and a little bit in Europe, with the idea that if they fell into enemy hands or, there was a widespread capture of U.S. materials during that time, they could declare these not legal tender, so there wouldn't be any monetary gain for the opposing side. And I guess we'll just start with the $1 North African yellow seal. They were made in the denominations of 1, 5, and 10, and there's some special stuff about the 10 especially, but for the $1 bill, they most commonly were encountered in blocks of IC and RC, which means that the letters here would be I and then C. FC is actually the most rare one, and that is going to have a premium in an uncirculated state, but won't affect the values in a normal circulated state, which is about $35 for a $1 bill. When you do get to those better conditions, it's about $200 for most of the notes, but $600 for the FC. These are printed on pretty dark paper, so that's just kind of a feature of these notes, but then it's not uncommon to see consecutively numbered notes in very high grades, so some notes that means that it's a huge value boost. Here there's obviously a non-zero value boost, but it's just not as wild as some other ones. When we go to the star note, they're in circulated condition. That will be a $120 note, but the higher grade uncirculated ones will be upwards of 1,000. The print run was about 144,000 on these, and they're the only note with the yellow seal to have an open star in the star note, because the other ones had closed stars because they were older. Next up, we have the $5 North African yellow seal, and yeah, as you can see, there's really not too much that's different if you compare this to a regular 1934 $5 silver certificate outside of the yellow seal. The design hasn't changed too remarkably, but all of them are going to be KA block, and there were 16 million of these printed, and there weren't any different blocks or Friedberg numbers, so there's very little variety on these. The late finish faceplate 307 varieties will be slightly more rare, but again, that's extending prices in uncirculated condition. It's not really a consideration when we're in the normal grades. These cost around $40 for a regular circulated one and above $200 for uncirculated, but they are actually the toughest one to acquire for the star notes, and you can see the closed star right there, with $200 in real circulated conditions and way past $450. That's like an XF for the uncirculated notes, so they can definitely get pricey. Next up, we have our star, or I shouldn't use star because that implies a star note, but the very best note in the series. It's extremely rare, and that's the 1934 $10 bill. Now, these are often faked. There's also 1934A $10 bills, but you can tell right here it should say series of 1934, and there won't be a letter after it. The front plate numbers are 116, 122, 123, 126, or 127, and they're often faked because of that difference, so those are the numbers right there that you want to be looking for. Here it says 126, so it should be good, presumably. There's no print run for them, but on the AA block, the numbers will all be pretty high, so here we see 91, that checks out. And in the BA block, they're going to be below 0756400. They cost about $1,500 for circulated ones, and will get up to the low 5-figure range for one of the few dozen uncirculated examples, so these are super expensive. What's even more expensive is the star notes from 1934 without that A. And they thought that it was unique until a few more surfaced, and it's likely that there could be a few more of them out there just because people don't really know that they have them. This specific note in 2006 sold for $120,000. I think that there's like 3 or 4 of them out there. It says that there's less than half a dozen, and yeah, it would be incredible to find one, but they're ones that have surfaced in the past, so it's not totally unreasonable to think that they might be out there. And our final one is going to be the 1934A, and you can see right there that A is the difference maker of huge value, not in a good way compared to the 1934 non-series, but they come in the AA and BA blocks without any premium on either one of them. There were 22 million of them printed, and they sell for about $30 in worn shape and move up to $200 for uncirculated notes, so there's actually not much of a difference in terms of what denomination. That's not super regular. It's almost better to get the 5 or the 1 than the 10, it seems, for the non-rare one. Some of the faceplates, the 86 is going to be the best one to find. There's not a market price difference, but that's generally viewed as the rarer one. And there were 276,000 star notes printed, so it's a pretty attainable note if you want to get one. It only costs about $200 for circulated examples. Uncirculated ones go in a low few thousand, low 4 figures range. But that pretty much brings us to the end. It's not a super extensive series, but it's good to know about, and it's really cool to know about the 1934 regular. I didn't realize that that was such a rare thing. So I'll definitely be looking for that in the future when looking through collections or something like that. Good luck finding it, and hope that you enjoyed and learned something about these North African notes. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you want to get in touch with me, do so on my website, treasuretownYT.com, my Instagram, TreasureTownYT, or my Facebook, TreasureTown. I've got links in the description, and I'll see you on some of my other videos.